Are you looking for your first electric skateboard, or maybe you just want to add one to your collection, something that's lightweight and good for commuting, so you don't have to carry your $3,000 super heavy board with you everywhere you go? Well, today we're going to take a look at the Exway Flex SE. Welcome back. I'm Tony, and in my experience, Exway is an excellent brand. I've got two of the Exway Atlas four-wheel drives. I've also got the short board, the Exway Ripple, and I have no complaints whatsoever. This is the board that we're taking a look at today. It is the Exway Flex SE, and of course that has the Riot motors on there and the hydro wheels. It's a really nice board. So the Flex SE 2023 is an updated version of the original Flex that's using updated parts and tech, and a new deck that's similar to the Flex Pro with Riot motors and hydro wheels, which hydro wheels are great. They do make for a softer ride. They're very, very grippy. They've got a tread on them. But the thing is, I don't recommend that you ride this board or any board in the rain. That's just my recommendation. These things are really not made for that. That's why I think the hydro wheel thing is kind of a misnomer. Yes, it will help if there's a little bit of moisture on the ground or something like that, because they are grippier and they do have a tread on them. But I don't ride them in the rain. Now, if you order from the website today in the US, estimated delivery is October 24th through the 26th. Also on the website, I noticed that affordability and performance seem to be the focus with this board. Quote right there at the top says, Exway is proud to introduce a high-performance feature-packed e-skate at an even more affordable price. And then a little bit lower, spend less for all the features you want. So what are the features? Well, right off the bat, I see here that it says swappable battery. Now, some of these boards are not really easy to maintain by a user, but in this case, this is not one of those, snap the battery off and snap a new one on. You're not going to carry a battery in your backpack and just do a quick swap on the road. You can swap it. You're going to still have to take out all the screws on the bottom of the board here. You're going to take this battery off, and what I'm guessing is that they have like a simple 3 or 6 pin connector, just tink, just a simple connector so that any user could do it, but it's not a quick swap type thing. Now, Exway's always pushed for modularity, and they also list the modular trucks on here. So in other words, you can swap out your trucks. I just don't know why you'd want to switch from belt to hub. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe from hub to belt. I'm just not a hub drive person, It's got a smart battery management system. Turbo is on here. I had to go into the app to turn the turbo on. Doesn't make a huge difference when you turn turbo on, and it might take up more battery though. The water resistance on this is IP55, which is not a whole lot. I mean, it's good for splashes and stuff, but I wouldn't go more than that. Wireless on and off with the remote. The Exway app, which I'll show you in just a little bit. A flexible deck. A biggie to me, shock absorbing grip tape, and the Exway Trist truck. Top speed on this is 25 miles per hour, has 20 miles range, and the weight on this is only 16.5 pounds. Now, if you're used to standard skateboards, that sounds like a lot, but a lot of my boards are 25 to 35 pounds, so I even have one that's 40 pounds. So 16 pounds is not that much, and a 30% hill grade. A Superflex classic deck design with high-tech construction and materials, fiberglass wrapped around a bamboo core. Then they say little things can make a big difference. Vibration damping grip tape, shock absorbing risers, high rebound urethane wheels. Well, that would be on the non-SE version. The SE comes with those hydro wheels, and to me, the hydro wheels are even better. They're quite a bit softer, plus they've got that grippy tread on them. And the trucks are their Trist RKP reverse kingpin trucks. Both the hangers and base plates are forged, then CNC machined for both strength and precision. And then, of course, mobile app support as well. All that for $689, and code TonyBP will get you an extra discount. I'll put that down in the description. So this arrived a couple days before I left for my cruise, and after I got back from my cruise, I came back with COVID. So man, I was just itching to ride this. So the first day that it felt good enough to get out and ride, I did. So let's do a lightning unboxing. I'll share that first ride with you. And then I filmed a few other days, so we'll include some of that, including trying this on loose sand and gravel, grass, and hills. All right, so this is my first ride on the Exway Flex, and it's in safety mode, which they all come in safety mode when you first get them. Exway boards do. You can actually turn that off in the app, but it takes like what, I think 3 miles or 2 miles, maybe even a mile for it to go out of safety mode. And that's a good thing because the safety mode is there to make sure you know how to ride it. Right? So we're in first gear, and already I can tell you I probably need to tighten these trucks a little bit. Nice smooth takeoff. 11 miles, or wait, 12 kilometers per hour. So I'm probably going to go in the app and change that to miles per hour. Go ahead and put this in second gear. Okay. Also, you can't change speeds on these until you stop, until you actually get out of the safety mode. All right. So here we go. That's nice, what, 18, 19 kilometers per hour in second. And you know what? That's second or third is probably what I'm going to ride in anyways. I got to say, it's a really nice, smooth ride. The wheels are very nice. Got a lot of grip to them. The brakes, that's some nice smooth braking right there, so that is cool. I don't know, maybe I won't tighten these trucks because they're actually not all that bad. Good for carving. Interesting thing about this board is a lot of boards, when you turn on the remote, the board will turn on itself if it's been within 24 hours. I let this thing sit for a few days, push the button, and it's still turned on with the remote, so that's pretty cool. Not so much in the grass. Well, the weather hasn't been all that fantastic lately. It's either really cold and windy, this is the Outer Banks, or we've got rain. So I've ridden this over several days for filming for this review. And one thing I haven't been able to do yet was the hill test. Now this hill is, it's definitely more than 30% grade at the top. Kind of a little bit, you know, a little bit less in the middle of it. And right down here, it's definitely pretty deep too. So I've got this in third gear, because I usually don't ride over third gear, you know? So let's see how this thing does on this hill. Now, I'll show you this. Even with the brakes on, she wants to roll backwards. So this is gonna be a matter of, let's give it a kick push and let's go. Oh, here we go. Slowing down just a little bit at the top there, but not too bad at all. All right, well, you know what? We're gonna do it again, and this time we're gonna do it with 4-speed. All right, we whip back around. I'm in 4th gear now, so we're gonna see how this does going up the hill in that speed. Now, I'll tell you, it didn't have any problems getting up the hill. The thing is, when I got to the top, it felt like, you know, I really didn't have any more speed to go. So let's just see how she does in 4th. A little slow start, but there we go. I've got the throttle nailed right now. Nailed all the way to the top, and then I slowed down a little bit. Because if you don't, when you get to the top and the board finally is able to go, it's like, woo! But let's just turn it around over here. I'm gonna get on a straightaway. All right, now let's see how we do. This is 4th gear right now from a dead stop. You know, not a lot of torque right out of the gate, but once you started going, it really picked it up. And since I normally ride mostly in third gear, let's go ahead and try that. Let me just switch it to third gear here. Now, one thing I did do is I went through and I went into the app, turned off the safety mode, and changed the miles per hour, 2 miles per hour from kilometers per hour. So that is helpful. Feels like about the same torque off the line with the third gear. And still very fast. So it might not be the most torquey board right off the line, but ultimately, it's got speed, so. And it definitely has power. I was gonna show you some carving, but since it's fall, notice all these leaves and all these pine straw and everything. Well, that will definitely make you slip. So be careful on that. But when you get away from that pine straw, it's like carving heaven, man. These wheels, they stick. Now, one thing that this board is really good at is turning around. Some of my boards, good luck if you have to turn around in a tight space, but this one, not a problem. Even over all these cracks. There's a lot to be said for that. I was pleasantly surprised with how fun this board is. Yeah, the max speed on it is only 25 miles per hour. I personally hardly ever go over 25 miles per hour unless I'm testing a board or something like that, or trying to get away from a dog, that kind of thing. But if you're new to this, that may not seem like a lot, but when you're that close to the ground, nothing around you, 25 miles an hour can seem pretty fast, and it really is. Fast enough for most people. This deck has such a nice concave to it. It's just, man, it looks good, and it really, your feet just really stick to it. And the wings to it are just in the right position. That's right where my feet go. I definitely prefer belt drive over hub drive. This thing isn't exactly a torque beast, but it's not going to launch you off the line, but it does have plenty of speed, and for most people it's going to have plenty of power, especially if you're using it as a commuter board or you're not racing. It's an overall great looking board, and this padded grip tape, man, it really does make a difference. It might not seem like it if you're not used to riding these things, but at long trips and things like that, it really does make a difference. The RKP trucks that are on here are really stable, and when I first got on this, I was like, ooh, it's kind of loose straight from the factory, and I thought I was going to have to tighten up the trucks, but after I got to riding it, I was like, oh no, I don't really need to. It's nice and loose, but super stable, like that. And little details like the bumpers that are on the front and the back of it, and they're integrated. They actually go underneath the risers that are on here that are padded risers, which become even more padding, and they're softer, I feel like, than the risers that are on there. I'm putting my fingernail into them right now. So that helps to dampen it, so you have a more comfortable ride. Plus, look, these things are going to end up bumping into something, along the way. So nice to have a bumper on there. And overall, it's just a fun board to ride. The range on it, 20 miles, that might sound like a lot. If you're new to this, if you've been riding for a while though, you know that once you get out there and you got your music, 20 miles, it might not be enough. You're like, oh man, I don't want to go back, that kind of thing. So yeah, 20 miles range, it's good, not super great. Something that happens with a lot of boards, the bushings on this one are a little bit squeaky. There's tricks you can do like baby powder and stuff, or you might just swap them out with riptides. The trucks actually are compatible with just about any pivot cups and bushings that are on the market, so that's good. The top of the deck is definitely bamboo. It's kind of, I can actually see the grain of the bamboo and stuff. I don't know how well that's going to hold up over time. I don't get this thing in the rain or anything like that, but moisture happens, or if I go through grass and there happens to be a little bit of moisture or something, I don't know how much that's going to affect the top of it. But the bottom of the deck, well, that's just a nice, I don't know how well you can see, but that is a nice fiberglass layer that's on the bottom of it. Some of the settings that you might want to change, you can do right on the remote, but some of them you have to go into the app and do. And the app, a little bit hit and miss. Once I got it to sync the first time, now it's great, but the first time I tried to sync it, it didn't want to do it. There are also two Exway apps. This one works on the one that's just called Exway, and then there's EX Skate. that my Atlas Pro will work on. So, okay, well, there are 2 apps. But what is nice with the app, and you're not going to be able to do this with most electric skateboards, is you go right in there and you can change everything from your acceleration for each one of the different speeds, your braking for each one of the different speeds, whether you want to have turbo mode on, which might take up more battery, you can turn that off. The app is very good once you get the board synced up to it, and it really does help you to dial in your board. So while the range is only 20 miles, if you're not going on large expeditions, you're using this for commuting, or it's your first electric skateboard, it should be plenty. Bottom line for me is it's a fun board at a great price, especially considering the components and the quality of the board. And it would be great for somebody who's just getting into electric skateboarding. This could be your first electric skateboard, or it could be great just to add to your quiver. So you have, an extra board that's not super heavy that you could take when you're going to school or just going down to the store or something like that. It's easy to throw that in the shopping cart, whereas the other ones you're like, oh, 40 pounds, getting that up in here. Yeah. And so far, I personally have had no issues with Exway or their boards or their service or anything like that. So I can only speak from personal experience. So that is the Exway Flex SE 2023. And I want to thank you so much for your support here on the channel. It's been around since 2013. I've done a lot of stuff on this channel. It's always about my passions. And 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, I fell in love with electric skateboarding, and it's in my blood, man. I can't help it. I love riding these things. If you've been around with the channel since 2013, man, I thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate you. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. I also appreciate your support. Easiest way to do so is if you like what you see, hit that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, there's a red subscribe button down there and a notification bell. Click both of those. You'll get notifications when I upload new videos. There's also a thank you button right down below this video if you'd like to throw a couple bucks my way. It definitely helps the channel. There's a lot of stuff there's a lot of cost involved in doing this. But either way, just the fact that you're here watching this video, I'm very grateful. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll catch you next time on the Vapor Trail channel.